Hey friends, I hope you're doing really well. My name is Tracy Brown. I'm a trauma-informed dietitian and a tuned eating expert. And I hope you're enjoying this series so far around different kinds of hungers. And I'm just going to jump right in. So on Monday we talked about all the different kind of hunger that shows up when you are just trying to balance and juggle, like not only like normative hunger fullness signals, but also learning the difference between like physical hunger, the mental hunger that you have after you haven't let yourself eat what you want in decades, the actual hunger that's kind of a backlog of hunger. So if you've been under eating a significant amount for a while, or even a tiny amount for a while, you're going to have like this pendulum swing to need to eat more than maybe other people need, or what you're used to eating to get back to equilibrium. That was Monday's video. Today I want to talk about something that, a lot of different languages used for it. I come from the trauma world, so we use a word called resonant. And that just means that sometimes our actions or our thinking or our emotions are really sometimes based on threat responses. And they're not always congruent with the here and now. We're like basically acting or connecting or resonating with something that we're used to or are familiar with. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you're in the here and now, and you're like, all right, mentally I got this. I'm going to do this hunger fullness thing. I know that I need to honor my hunger and accept that I have, accept that my needs are actually more than like diet culture told me my needs are. And so maybe you've accepted that when you're present, when you feel grounded. But then you get around somebody who's doing this like, I ate too much for lunch, so I have to eat a smaller dinner. And something about that interaction, it maybe is triggering something in you that hasn't been resolved yet, or hasn't been made peace with yet, or you just get into this threat response. So maybe you get in, maybe for you get in this please response. We're like, I need to do what they're doing too. And that's, here, it's a mind and a heart condition. It's not like, well, what is your body saying? So you're basing your needs off of something that's resonating in you that connects with what they're saying too, right? So that's called resonant hunger. I'm in please right now, and that feels a little bit heavy inside, and my appetite's kind of dampened, and I'm telling myself I shouldn't need so much, when it's not really all based on accurate hunger and fullness. It's based on like, when I feel like this shamey, people-pleasing kind of feeling, I tend to undereat. We're like connecting with that. So that's just a quick example of resonant hunger. And to give a broader example, give some more examples here, is that basically, for those of you who have not heard these education pieces, please go back and rewatch on the YouTube channel a lot about being in fight, flight, freeze, or please. So you can within YouTube, you can Google Tracy Brown RD, fight, flight, freeze, or please, and a bunch of videos are going to come up about education, about threat responses, window of tolerance, and why that's important for people who want to be normative eaters is that if you're not in like a place of physiologic, like I'm here, I'm relatively safe enough, our digestion's not going to be accurate. Hunger and fullness signals won't be accurate. So it's really important to work on like building, like being in and building your window of tolerance, because that's where I guess we'll call it normative eating is. I know how hungry I am. I know where my edges are. I know what satisfies me. I know how to get it. I know how to enjoy it. I don't see it as a threat. That's our normative eating. But if you're in fight or flight or freeze or please, physiologically, it's pretty unlikely that you're going to be eating based on accurate signals, because you just can't maybe feel them, you can't hear them, like it's in your felt sense or your inner knowing. And so resonant hunger is basically just eating based off a threat response. So I'm really revved up, and you feel really shaky inside, and maybe you feel kind of like your stomach's up in your neck. You're probably not going to eat enough food. Or you might be eating because this sensation feels like a threat, and we're eating to push that down. But it's not accurate to hunger and fullness. And that's where I know a lot of people struggle with this whole intuitive eating thing, is that like, unless you're relatively feeling safe enough and grounded enough, your signals are going to feel kind of confusing, because we can easily confuse signals of like, or sensations like buzziness, heaviness, feeling foggy. We can easily get that all kind of confused with, do I eat or not, basically. And it's not always clear. So that's why the work of really working our interoceptive awareness and really slowing down and examining our thoughts and capturing those thoughts of like, am I okay right now? Am I a threat right now? Like, how would I know inside that I'm relatively safe enough? And how do I help my body know that? You know, what do I need to see, smell, taste, touch, hear, feel, like with my senses to get into 2022 or whenever you're watching this video? Because if you're not in your window, again, hunger fullness signals are kind of inaccurate. You know, and I'm making this video with the assumption that you have refed yourself enough. You're out of the chaos of binging and out of the chaos of restricting enough to where like sometimes my signals are right on, but if I'm in a stress response, I'm not always sure what's going on. So to help you all with that, I'm going to put down a link below. It's called In Your Skin, or yeah, In Your Skin. It's a free gift that I used to like, literal, very tangible. You can touch it, you can print off the sheet, you can do it. Things to do before every meal, snacks too, to help you slow down to get into now time, because that will help you get into your window of tolerance and get much more clear about what your needs are for, you know, hunger, where your fullness is, what would be satisfying. This is kind of the missing toolkit or tool set that I know a lot of people don't know how to use when they come to this recovery eating journey, and they figured out maybe 5 years in that like, oh, I can do intuitive eating most of the time, but sometimes I can't feel it. What's that about? Is this my menstrual cycle stuff? Is this some threat response stuff? Is this what's going on around me that's pulling me out of embodiment, basically? And I know some of you watching this video, you know, do struggle with maybe intuitive eating because of some neurodiversity kind of stuff. And these tools can be used for that too, by the way. It helps you get deeper in and start to like really get a little bit more clear about signals and about what's a threat and what's just uncomfortable. So I'll leave you with that. I'm going to put the link below with some tools to help you get more clear about what's what you're actually sensing and your felt sense, and start to learn how to name it. And take this with you, is that sometimes we feel a lot of stuff inside, and it can get scary if we don't know how to name it. And so I tell my clients all the time, it's really important that we learn how to get individuation between signals of like what's a threat and what's just uncomfortable. Because sometimes we've gotten so used to eating and we have all this fear and uncertainty about it that we just assume that every experience is going to be bad, when maybe it's fine, maybe it's neutral, maybe it's good. And we're not slow enough to recognize what's good and what's neutral and what's a threat. So this tool set will help you. Watch this video again. If you have any questions, please put that below in the comments as well. If you have some just questions or something you want to like brainstorm with me, put it below and tag me, and I will come back and say, oh, I'm going to like give you some suggestion, and then tell me more. Does this feel right inside what I'm saying? I'm happy to help. So thank you so much for watching. If you feel like you have friends who are trying to do non-diet eating and they're feeling pretty afraid of their own symptoms or signals too, and they're not sure what's going on, and they're further enough along in recovery where they're refed enough that signals would make sense to be there, they're just a little fuzzy, this is the video for them. And share that with them, that, you know, let's make the complex as simple as we can. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.